Get into the forecast here. The heat continues by Prince. Oh, hate to leave that guy behind. We're going to take a look at what you need to know as we go through the next several days. The heat and the still noticeable humidity going to be continuing, but it's not as muggy as it's been recently. A very low storm chance across the entire region today, but storm chances do return later this week. We'll talk about that in a second. First, let's talk about the heat. It is very warm to hot out there. Temperatures mostly in the mid to upper 80s, upper 70s in the mountains. The difference is instead of a heat index already above 100 degrees like we had 48 hours ago, the heat index is only about 5, maybe 6 degrees hotter than the air temperature, and that difference is actually going to narrow down a little bit as we head through the rest of the afternoon. Air temperature is still going to reach up to 94. That's a good half dozen degrees above average, but the heat index, we're going to see that topping out around 98 degrees this afternoon. It's not great. It's not going to feel like autumn, but it's a lot better than that feels like temperature of 106 that we were running again just a couple of days ago. Let's fill in the rest of the map. Temperatures in the low to mid 90s area wide. Hottest temperatures will be just off to the southeast of Charlotte, where those temperatures are already at or above 90 degrees. Coolest readings in the mountains, still getting up into the low 80s. The mugginess is going to climb once again as we head through the nighttime hours tomorrow, and then it's going to be back into the flat-out humid category most of Friday, and even to start the day on Saturday. But then another drop in humidity is going to carry us through the second half of the weekend and into early next week. But that increase in mugginess is going to lead to an increase in our storm chances. It's also going to lead to a widening gap between the air temperature and the heat index. So back to a 6 or 7 degree difference by Friday and Saturday. We really narrow it down on Sunday. 90, only feel a couple degrees hotter for the second half of the weekend because that humidity is going to be lower, even lower than it's been yesterday afternoon and into today. Very limited storm chances today. Tomorrow we get through most of the day dry. I don't think we're going to have anything on the radar even by late afternoon on Thursday, but that changes around and just after the sun goes down. We're going to see some scattered thunderstorms trying to develop late tomorrow evening. Those are going to be fairly few and far between. We're calling it a 40% chance. That might stretch the math just a little bit, but a much better chance of thunderstorms developing by Friday evening and continuing into Friday night. These are going to be capable of producing some heavy downpours, frequent cloud to ground lightning, and even the potential for some damaging wind gusts. I think the overall severe weather potential is going to be pretty limited. But in terms of the heavy rain, we're outlined for a level 2 out of 4 risk of excessive rainfall, which means some scattered instances of flash flooding are going to be possible, kind of on a localized basis, but still something we're going to have to monitor very closely as we head through that late Friday and into Friday night time frame. That system is going to drop us back down to closer to normal temperatures, upper 80s to around 90 degrees from the weekend into next week, and more importantly, more tolerable humidity back in place by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Natisha?
All right, Paul.